welcome to Forward Speaking, life lessons learned and then some. Forward Speaking is all about taking lessons that I've learned all through my life, taking lessons that I've learned from others, from training, from seminars, from mentoring, from all the years that I've had, and then bringing it forward and sharing it with you so that maybe your circle of learning can be shortened just a little bit by the experiences that I've had and the things that I've learned as I've gone through life. So that's what Forward Speaking is all about. And I hope that you'll come along on this journey with me and join in this learning and growth, development, and just becoming our best people, our best selves that we can be. So I want to go over just a little overview with you about what Forward Speaking is all about. Let me just grab this. Let's see, I hope you can all see that. I'm gonna make just a quick change here. And actually this is kind of more, no, it's gonna be backwards anyway. So it's actually more for me just to remember, but we're gonna go over just a quick overview of some of the things that we're gonna be talking about on Forward Speaking, life lessons learned. So first of all, one of the things that we're gonna go over is how to find peace. This has been just kind of a crazy year for everybody. There has been, life's just been interrupted. It's been disrupted. And for some people, it's been devastating. So this year, 2020, has been just a crazy year. And I hope that we can all go forward into 2021 with a better outlook, with hope, with faith, with all the desires that we can have for our best year, our best life. And so I want to go over how to find peace, your own circle of peace, no matter what's going on outside. I've got some things I want to show you with that when we get into that lesson. But that's one of the first things that we're going to go over. One of the next things, I'm going to push this over just a little bit. Kind of out of there. Anyway, one of the next things is this cycle that I love and it's helped me out so much. And this is the thought, feeling, action, and results cycle. Now, a lot of people initially will say that doesn't have anything to do with it, but it has everything to do with who we are, what our feelings are, what our emotions are. This is an amazing cycle. And once we learn this cycle and how it works, we can pretty much kind of change everything. So this is huge. It's one of the things that we're going to use all through some of these trainings and some of the other things that we're going to use. So number 3 is a big one. One of the ones that nobody likes to hear. Number 3 is about taking 100% responsibility for where you're at in life. And that's a tough one because for a lot, there's been so many things happen in our lives, whether it's been divorces, for me personally, divorces, kids that were, had substance abuse issues to the point of near death, really, for 2 of my 7 kids. And the hardships that I watched them go through and the things that I watched me go through with that. We've all had maybe, somebody that we feel has really wronged us. There's been deaths in families. There's been all sorts of things, whether it's been job changes, job losses, having to move, having to totally uproot everything that we knew for something different. So life has happened to all of us. But the bottom line is we really are 100% responsible for where we're at in life. And we're going to go over that, the why, the how, and the fact that that's really a good thing. Because if you're 100% responsible for where you're at, guess what? Now you're 100% responsibility for making all the necessary changes. Whereas if you give any part of the responsibility somewhere else, then there's a piece of that you're out of control. And there's a piece of that because you're saying I'm not responsible for that, you also can't change that. So being 100% responsible is actually a great thing, and it's a huge thing. And we're going to talk about that, and I hope that we'll all learn and grow from that. So number 4 in here is, which I love, and I heard this first from John Asseroff, who is the founder and course CEO of NeuroGym. Kind of going in and out of there, but that's okay. You can hear me. Of NeuroGym, and he talks about the difference between our Einstein brain and our Frankenstein brain. Now, I want you to think about that a little bit, and before we get to that series or before we get to that, maybe just kind of play with that a little bit. So we have our Einstein brain, which is the one that wants us to do things, wants us to be creative, wants us to move forward, wants us to enjoy life, and wants us to maybe be adventurous. And then we have this Frankenstein brain. And that's the one that says you can't do it, you have failed before, it's not safe, you need to stay in your little box, you need to stay safe, don't be adventurous, you won't like it, maybe you'll make a fool out of yourself. So that's kind of that Frankenstein brain, and every one of us have that. And the issue is that the Frankenstein brain is usually the louder talker. The Frankenstein brain is the bigger bully, and usually that's the one that wins out. So we're going to talk about this with the Einstein brain and the Frankenstein brain. Our brains have this neuroplasticity to it, which means it can change. For a little bit, they thought that the brains, once they were kind of formed, or once we had our habits, that they were just, we were kind of stuck that way. But that's not true. That's not true. They have found that there is this neuroplasticity to our brains, so they can change. So no more of this, well, this is just how I am, and this is how I'll always be, because the truth is, that's just an excuse for, I have failed before, I don't want to try again, and it's not worth it to me. So we can all change. We can all do better. That means we can all have better lives, and we can kind of up our game a little bit. So that's kind of a fun thing. Number 5 here is letting go and moving forward, right? A part of what we're going to go through in this one is cleaning out our storage. And when I say a storage, I'm not talking about your garage. I'm not talking about a storage unit that you've got somewhere for all the stuff that you've been keeping and collecting over the years. I'm talking about this storage unit right here, right? Because all in all, this is our biggest storage unit, right? I mean, we keep all those things, all those hurts, all those things that somebody said or did or whatever, because, right? I mean, heavens, we know we're short of ammo in this world today, right? So we kind of keep our ammunition so that when somebody does something, we can go, now, wait a minute. I remember 10 years ago, you said this or you did this and all that. We pull out all this storage that we've been keeping and all this ammunition that we've been keeping just in case we might use it or need it, right? So we're going to talk about cleaning out this storage unit right here, how valuable that is, how to go about doing it, and why we need to even do it. Living in the box, you've always heard that, you know, try things out of the box kind of a deal. So we're going to talk about what it's like to live in the box versus out of the box, and that kind of goes along with your Einstein, Frankenstein brain. But we're also going to add a new concept to it, because a lot of times we keep people in the box. And we're going to talk about how we put people in the box and how we can get them out of the box. And a lot of it is ourselves. It's not the people that's in the box, it's we are in the box towards those people, which means we have already formed an opinion. We're not going to let them change, even if they want to. And so sometimes with relationships, we can be in the box with some people and out of the box with others because of our expectations and how we have kind of labeled and how we have formed certain people. So we want to be out of the box with everybody. We want to give everybody the freedom, the right to be who they are, to change. We need to give people the right to change and to become better, just like we would want to do. So we're going to talk about being in the box towards other people and how that can damage our relationships and how getting out of that box can really just open things up for us. So we're going to go over that paradigm shifts. We've all heard about paradigm shifts. So we're going to go over why. Why do we need a paradigm shift? Why do we need to change our way of looking at things, changing things? Now, not in everything do we need to do that, but there's a lot of things that we're so focused, and for so many years we've been programmed to see things in one certain way and one light, and that stops our growth. So we're going to go over some paradigm shifts. We're going to go over maybe some reprogramming that has been done. The thing that's interesting is a child is pretty much programmed by the time they're like 10, you know, and between those years of like 5 to 10, there's a lot of programming that goes on. There's a lot of things. I love the phrase that there's more that's caught than what's taught. And sometimes we're taught certain things, but when we see different things, whether it's relationships that we, you know, in our home that we grew up in, whether it's siblings or parents or the way parents did, things that teachers said. Oh my goodness, I had things that some of my elementary teachers said to me or did, or a student, whatever, that I carried with me for so many years. They meant nothing in my adult life, but I carried with me some thoughts about myself or actions because of things that were said or that I perceived clear back when I was like maybe in the 2nd or 3rd grade. So anyway, there's little things that we've carried with us, little things that we have programmed, and we need to kind of program ourselves for the world that we live in now. So some of those old programs, we just plain need to get rid of them. We need to take a good look at them and kind of look around them and go, what works, what doesn't, what's really the now and what isn't. So we're going to go over that, some of that paradigm shifting, some of that letting go of different things in this Forward Speaking Life Lessons Learned and then some. Oh, I love this one, the I know syndrome. Got some stories on that one. So we live in such a world of knowledge. Like, we do not lack in our world for gaining knowledge. I mean, you can Google anything. You can ask Siri. You can ask Alexa. Sometimes Alexa comes on when I don't even ask her. But anyway, you can get knowledge from anywhere, right? So it isn't about the I know. And a lot of times when you say I know, what you're really saying is, I don't want to learn anymore. I'm good. Thank you anyway. Instead of saying, yeah, I know that, but tell me more. Or maybe this is what I feel like I know. How can you add to that? But this I know syndrome can be kind of damaging for us. So we're going to talk about the I know syndrome versus the I know that and I do that syndrome. There's so much that we know and know that we should be doing that we're not. So we want to kind of switch that up a little bit and go from the I know to I do. Triggers. Who has triggers, right? We all have triggers. We've been raised with triggers. So something that somebody will say or do. I mean, you can even see a certain kind of a car or a smell or it can be anything, and it sends a trigger, a memory or a pain or something. Now, some triggers are good. They might trigger a great memory for you and just really make you feel good inside. But other triggers bring out some pain. Other triggers bring out some heartache and pain. Triggers are our teachers, and we want to learn from those triggers. So instead of just going, I can't do this, I can't be around that, I don't want to see this, I don't want to talk about that. We need to look at those triggers and we need to kind of pull them apart a little bit. And we need to go, where am I feeling this and why? And how can I make this so that when I hear that or see that or smell that or this comes to mind, I can go, it's all good. I've learned what I needed to learn and it's gone. So we're going to talk about triggers and how they can really be our teachers. One of the things that I love for me is I've always learned and taught by analogies. I love analogies. I love using the practical, simple, everyday things in life to be able to view something that maybe is a little more serious. And so we're going to go through a lot of simple analogies. And maybe when I say some of my analogies, you're going to go, that's ridiculous. That's so simple. But if you'll just bear with me, maybe attach it to what we're talking about. For me, an analogy helps me to remember something a little bit longer, or helps me to keep it in my mind as opposed to just a lesson learned. If I have an analogy or something to attach it to, I can learn a little bit more from it, or I can remember it better. And my kids used to always give me a hard time because I would throw analogies at them ever since they were little. And I remember one time them just bringing objects to me and say, Mom, you can make an analogy out of everything. Okay, here's this, make an analogy. But that's just kind of the way I love to teach and the way that I love to learn. So bear with me. I hope that you'll kind of enjoy, and I hope that these will help you to remember some of the things that we're going to be talking about here in this forward speaking. And then, of course, one of the last things that I have on here, and this is just a quick overview of all of the different things that we're going to be learning in this Forward Speaking Facebook page. So please, I hope that you'll come and join me on this journey of learning and growth and becoming our best self, kind of doing some cleaning out mentally, emotionally, so that we can really become our best selves. It's amazing how much the mental and the emotional will have on your physical too. If you find yourself maybe sick now, certainly I'm not trying to take the place of any kind of if you need to be on a medication or if you need something like that, but mental and emotional can actually cause you to be ill. Whereas if you kind of clean that out, you bit by bit, it's kind of this ripple effect. Whereas if you feel better, you do better, and everything you can lighten your load. And with all of that pressure gone, it takes the physical begins to feel better, and you want to do more. You want to be more active. You want to be more involved, and you just feel better. So hopefully in all of this cleaning out, that maybe you can find some physical changes too that take place in your world just because you're feeling better and being more of yourself and who you are. Excuse me. The last one that I put on here that I really want to talk about, and this is a fun one, is what we link our experiences to. So what you link your experiences to can change your whole world. And just a really quick example on that. If you talk about food and maybe you want to drop a few pounds, or you want to eat differently, and yet in our mind we've linked pleasure to food, we feel like we're taking away pleasure. So now it's like, okay, I can't have my food, I can't have my comfort this and my comfort that, and we've taken that link away. But if you learn to link that food to maybe something of like, if I eat better, I'll feel better, I can do more, I'll have more energy. Or if I don't eat this, I'm going to feel better. Or maybe for me, anyway, sugar is like, for me, like I can do really good for a long time and then all of a sudden I'll binge. And I do have hypoglycemia. So sometimes when that happens, man, I just go into this binge and then I'm mean and I'm ornery and I swell up and I'm a horrible person. So if I link that instead to what that makes me feel, instead of the pleasure of when I'm eating it, is so much easier to just avoid it altogether. And so that's just one little thing, and I hope that made sense. But if we link our life's experiences to something that's worthwhile and that's good, we can maybe change a little bit about how we feel and how we go about our everyday lives and really kind of change our world. So how we link our experiences. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So anyway, that's just a little overview of what you're going to find here on Forward Speaking, Life Lessons Learned and More. Come along on this journey with me. I hope to find you there. I hope that you will bring some of your friends along with you, have them join us on this journey. Please feel free for input. Just keep in mind that this is supposed to be a page of growth, of positivity. So if you have negativity and sarcasm, I would appreciate you not putting it on this page. If you have something that you maybe just want to send to me personally, go ahead and message me. If there's something that you feel like could be better, or maybe you didn't like something that was said, go ahead and just message me on it. But I want this to be a place where people can learn and grow and feel good about being. So come join us along. Forward Speaking, Life Lessons Learned and More. Thanks so much, and I'll see you there.